The topic of today is you don't know the first thing about friendship. Now, I took a look at African Exports video about this topic, and I definitely agree with her on so many levels. I will touch on some things that she did say, but let's look up the definition of a friend before we get started, because I think it's important that we don't use this term so loosely, because a lot of people have been using the word incorrectly for years. They labeled all the ducks their friends, and then that one goose that could definitely be of some value to them, they don't even consider them their friend. So we're going to look at Webster's Dictionary definition of friend, and then I'm going to read it to you guys. And then we'll go from there. Now, Webster, the first definition is the one I'm going to go with, is one attached to another by affection or esteem. You have to understand other words too, in order to know the true definition of a particular word. And so let's look at affection. Affection is love shown, emotion rather shown towards somebody else, regardless if it's a negative or a positive emotion. When people think of affection, they automatically think that affection means that it's good affection. You can have negative affection. You really can. Affection is just emotional value that you have with someone, and so, or that you show toward them. And so you definitely want it to be good. You want it to be love. You want it to be happiness. You want it to be joy when you think of having a friend. And so that's easy. You can be happy with anybody. You can have fun and smile and laugh and joke with any old Joe off of the street. But the second word is esteem. That's about your self-worth, the way you value yourself, how you feel about yourself, and it can also be affected about the way other people feel affected by the other people's feelings of you, or the way that they value you, or that they dictate you should be valued. And one thing that a friend does not do is lower your esteem. And I like to think of esteem as self-esteem. They want to make it higher. They lift you up when you're down. They will let you know if you have some character flaws. They will be honest at all times. They'll say, hey, Ashley, you might not want to wear that dress because it makes you look like a hippopotamus, or that dress is too tight, or your ass is hanging from underneath that dress. Probably not a good look. Those are some honesty examples. I mean, a friend should be able to tell you some things without you always being offended. Yeah, things are going to be taken personally, but you should know that your friend has your best interest at heart, and that they will not abuse you, that they are always going to be uplifting, and that they are going to let you recognize things about yourself that you wouldn't be able to recognize without them being around. A friend does not have to be a lifelong partnership. You can have a friend in a certain season in your life that came in to help you and build you for this particular season, and then you guys grew apart. I definitely agree with that. At first I was like, no, if you're my friend, you're supposed to always be my friend. You're going to be at my wedding and in my wedding. All friends aren't for the same purpose. Now, I used to use the term best friend too loosely. Best friend these days is a cliche. When you have multiple best friends and, come on now, you don't have to label somebody your best friend. If they're your friend, that's enough. I don't need to put your value on levels. You just know that you mean a lot to me, enough for me to label you my friend. A friend should be discussed before you go into the relationship, like any other relationship. You wouldn't just automatically label somebody your boyfriend after a couple of dates and sex. I mean, that's something that's discussed. Okay, do you want a commitment? Do you want to go forward and work towards something with value? Do you want to be involved in my life? Do you want to know what's going on? I also think that it should be discussed as far as a friendship goes. You need to know if this person wants to be your friend, if they want to be that committed to you. So committed to the point that they are going to be there for the good and the bad. Because when you use the term so loosely, the term friend, you come to realize that some of your friends are only there when times are good and they're not when they're bad, and that is not the definition of friendship. African Export hit it on the head. When you're in your time of need, that's when a friend is measured, you know, because they're there. Now, I'm not saying that financially your friend is going to always be able to be there. I'm not saying that emotionally, you know, if you're not going through your own thing, that you can, you know, offer as much support as necessary. But let me tell you some things like this. This is a broad spectrum. Funerals, births, marriages, divorces, graduations, any type of accomplishments, new jobs, retirements. These are things that friends should be a part of. If that happens during your friendship, then you should probably be there. You should be there to congratulate when congratulations are due, and you should be able to be there when scorning is due. You should be able to be a shoulder when crying, you know, it's time to cry. Like, it's just certain things that you expect a friend to do. Now, I don't expect my friend to call me every day. I don't have to talk to you every day. I don't talk to my family members every day, the ones that I don't live with. I don't call my mom every day. Some people live by that. I don't need to speak to my mother every day. Sometimes you need distance in order for a friendship to work. And sometimes you need distance from your family in order for, you know, the tension to remain even. And so I definitely don't want you guys to think that I don't want to talk to my friends. But I don't call people, because when I call people, I talk. And if they don't have the time to talk to me and they tell me that they don't want to talk, or they're going to call me back, that pisses me off, because I hate rejection. And I know it's childish, because you will get rejected throughout your life. But let me tell you something. I can definitely honestly say to you guys that I don't like it. Not one bit. So you call me because you know goddamn well I'm going to talk your ear off. And so when you ring my phone, I know that you're ready to talk. I'm also ready to listen. I may do a lot more talking than listening, but another thing that friends should do is accept each other for who they are. Don't try to change your friends. If this girl has been your rock, if she has helped you through a difficult time, your baby daddy left and she was there throughout your pregnancy, she helped you get through it, she let you know that you were worth something, she built your self-esteem, I mean, that can be considered a friend. But if she's a hoe, you can't judge her. You can't talk about her hoishness behind her back, because you're her friend. You accept her flaws and all. It's like with any relationship. I don't like a lot of things that my mom does. I don't agree with a lot of them, and I used to judge her by them, but now I know that, you know, some people do things that are outside of their character. That's just life. It happens. And so you can't just judge a book by, you know, one page. Look at the rest of the pages and how the story pans out and how that person's life pans out. If you know that a person is a genuine person to you, then, you know, they're there, they listen when you're talking, when it's really important, and I'm not talking about happy hour, I'm not talking about clubbing for your birthday, I'm not talking about gifts and shit like that, but when you really need someone to listen, you really need someone's advice, and you really just need a connection with someone to let you know that, no, you're not crazy, no, this is definitely and a way that you could look at this situation, that no, you aren't overdoing it, no, or maybe yes, you are overdoing it, and yes, it can be looked at this way as well. Somebody who can just check and balance. It's all about checks and balances. It's all about companionship, and it's all about camaraderie and bonding. It's not about, like African Export said again, good times. I can have good times with my next door neighbor. That doesn't mean that she's my friend. Stop thinking that all your coworkers and all your classmates and anybody you've ever had a partnership with or worked on a project with or solved a problem with is your fucking friend. They are not your friends. They are people that have come along, that you have associated with, that you were acquainted with, that could possibly turn into friends, but that doesn't mean that they're your friends. These are coworkers. These are classmates. These are partners. These are freaking, you know, people in your life that you see on a regular basis, but that doesn't mean that they're your friends. My friend could live in Timbuktu. If I I needed her and she shipped me some fucking cookies and milk and I felt better about my situation and she wrote me a letter or fucking put a comment on my Facebook page or something that uplifted me, even though she wasn't there in body, she was there in spirit and mind, and she was able to relate to me even from afar. That's a friend. She doesn't have to be sitting right next to you. A bitch can be sitting right next to you and hugging and kissing you or whatever and saying everything is gonna be okay, but as soon as she leave out the building, she telling everybody your goddamn business. Oh girl, you know, a friend is not gonna do that to you. So be mindful of who you're labeling as your friend or whatever. And pause on the hugging and kissing. I meant, like, you know, oh, everything's gonna be okay. Not kissing. I don't know where that came from. Anyway, sometimes I get sidetracked. But yeah, just know that, I mean, a friendship also needs to be discussed, just like going into a relationship. You're not just going to say that this person is your boyfriend because he took you on some dates, he bought you something, and you had sex with him. I mean, you're going to sit down and talk about if you want to be committed, if you want to move forward, if you want to be a part of my life, if you want to share certain aspects of my life, and if you can be there through the good and the bad and not just the good or whatever. Like, I discussed this shit with my classmates the other day. The day before, those bitches were just my classmates, but after we had that conversation, they had become my friends because they were sort of my rocks during the time I was going through not having a car and all that. They were picking me up from school. They didn't talk about me behind my back. And I do know that there was an instance where somebody was taking me home and I thought that they were my friend, but I did find out that they were talking about me behind my back. I don't know exactly what they said per se, but I mean, I knew right then that that person is not friendship material, that you just can't, you can't label everybody who helps you out your friend, and everybody who doesn't mean that they're not your friend. It's just a bond and a connection that will allow you to know that friend in a crowd. They'll shine brighter than everybody else that's around when they do something that presents themselves as a friend. You'll know. So that's my take on friendship. Not going to take up too much of you guys' time. It's probably already 15 minutes anyway, but yeah, I'm posting it.